Hello everybody, my name is James Elliott and I run Elliott Antique Clocks Limited, and I also run the eBay shop, the Neurology Centre. And today I'd like to show you this fine Petite Sonnerie Gorge case. It's by Roblin of Paris. It's a really nice thing. It's got a very beefy sort of gorge case. Some cases you find quite feminine, in the sense that the proportions aren't sort of more as pronounced or sort of exaggerated as they are with this one. You've got these lovely deep corners. The base really splays out. You've got these big beefy moulds at the top, and then sometimes on other gorge cases there's slightly more sort of more, I say, daintier in their sort of in the sense of the mouldings. So you see that fully restored movement, looking absolutely fabulous. Case has been cleaned and then re-gilded. The movement is signed on the inside of the movement plates, and you'll see an image of that on eBay. Let's just open that door. You can see how tight that door still is, and the handle. Nothing's flopping around. You see that wonderful movement. It's got a serial number at the bottom which matches up to everything else. Another side, the reason this is a sort of the gongs are so high. Normally on a clock, but a later clock, the gongs start around, this top piece here would start around here. This is because this is the transitional stage from when they started moving from bells to gongs. So then you've got the sort of more vertical hammers like you would on a bell striking clock. But obviously it's absolutely all original. There's no place a bell would have been there. There would have been marks on the movement plate where the bell stand is. That's absolutely as is. So it's an early clock, just with gongs. So it's got all the quite a few early features, like the gilded escapement, for instance. That's something that they did. They tended to do sort of 1860. This is about sort of 1870, but it still has that feel of a sort of clock of an earlier type. The enamel dial, absolutely pristine condition. There's no cracks, no restoration. Not even a... I'm not gonna say it till I have a really good look. There's barely a mark on it. Absolutely pristine condition. As with all good quality Petite Sonneries, you've got the strike silent lever at the bottom there. You don't always get that with Petite Sonneries. And again, we have the serial number up there, which corresponds with movement, as I pointed out. It's a lot wider. I don't know if I'm sort of describing sort of the case as well as I should be, but it's a very sort of substantial gorge case compared to the majority that you see out there. So let's go up top and we can have another look at a few more of these wonderful features this clock has, which is that escapement mask, which is absolutely wonderful when it hits the light. The camera's not really picking up. Oh yes, that's better. And there we have the early gilded escapement, another sign that this clock is early. Really large escapement. You can tell that by the size of the balance wheel. That balance wheel was the same size as you'd see on any escapement of this beat. So I think that gives you some idea of the size of it. As I say, the proportions look really stunning. And the gongs, well, they sound absolutely marvellous as well. But it's such an interesting clock to have where, you know, in all intents purposes, you'd expect it to have a bell. And it's just at that time. I'm not going to get winded all the way. I'm sure it would self-start. They don't always, but I'm sure it would. But I just wanted you to see how well the clock runs with that small amount of wind. And that's how you can tell if somebody says a clock is overhauled. It's always best just to put one wind or even half a wind on. And if the escapement's running like this one is, then you know it's been well cleaned and it has been recalibrated. So let's wind it up to the top. And you can see it's literally taking off. And that's it fully wound. Put some on the strike side as well. I won't close the door fully because it's quite tight and it is tricky to open from the back. So I suggest we turn the hands and hear the clock striking. I can locate the handset. There we go. So just being a petite sonnerie, we're just going to get the quarters on the quarters. So there's a hair there. And also what I like is these outer markers, which is a later idea, which is, you know, again, that's why this clock has got, you know, early features and it's got some later features, which is really interesting. Normally they're in one ballpark or the other, so this is one that really sort of, you know, almost like an intermediate fossil, if you like, you know, the evolution of what is about to come. They really do look great, these outer markers for the Arabic numerals for each 5 minute. Those gongs do sound marvellous. So then if we've pressed the repeat button, then the clock will act like a grand sonnerie. It will then strike the hour and the quarter. Really doesn't put a foot wrong. It really sounds exceptionally good. Better than most, especially the modern Leppy clocks. I don't know if any of you own one of these clocks, but to get a decent sound out of one of those clocks compared to a 19th century carriage clock is there's no comparison. So up to the hour we can hear the clock engaging the hour striking. And the other thing I like about this clock is how the dial really fills the space. You know, I can't stand it when the chapter ring is, you know, starting around here and you've just got this gaping gap of white enamel, which is, you know, this really fills the case, which is nice, and it's nice and high up as well. I should put some power on the alarm. If I can do that, yeah, okay. Success. I don't want to put too much power on, otherwise it will. But then if you don't put on enough, it sometimes doesn't trip the alarm. You know, you do need a certain amount of wind, but I think that should be enough. But then if we put too much on, we'll have to listen to it for quite some time. Yeah. Spot on. Whenever you buy a clock, especially from auction, or if you're buying it from somebody who doesn't really know much about clocks, and you're worried about if there's a problem with striking, you should always ask them, does 12 and 1 o'clock strike correctly? If they do, there won't be a problem with the striking, generally speaking. There's always a good sort of tester. We'll just take it up to 1. Just so you can see for yourself. Those gongs do sound marvellous. So we are, an absolute cracking clock. Condition is excellent, glass panels are fantastic, dial is excellent, hands are all original. Case has been re-gilded, movement's been overhauled. It's good to go for, you know, well over sort of 5 years, although you should really at least get the platform cleaned every 5 years, just purely for the safety of the parts, because the oils can dry out. But there we are. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Please subscribe. Please don't hesitate to contact me. My email address is listed on eBay and YouTube, so you can catch me there, or my telephone number's there as well. So, look forward to hearing from some of you maybe in the near future. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.